Good evening, everyone. This is Robert, RJL 518, welcoming you to a special edition of Inside Pitch, a special Q&A show that a lot of people have been asking me to do, like a tutorial or something like that. Questions and answers, that kind of thing on Inside Pitch. And one of our finest hobbyists posted some questions in the Inside Pitch Facebook group and such, and had some questions on the rules and how to do certain things and the calculations that you have to have. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll do a Q&A video. Welcome, Mr. Moley55. Good to have you here. I do not want this to be a bitch session. And I'm going to say that right now. This is not a bitch session. This is a question. This is a question and answers. I want you guys to ask me certain questions on how to resolve certain plays in Inside Pitch. Welcome, Steeler fan. Good to see you, my good friend. And I'm gonna go ahead and do some questions and answers here for those of you who want to learn more about how to play the game. When I play the game, somebody once asked a question, how do you learn how to play the game? And somebody answered him, you got to watch RJL's and baseball demos videos. Unfortunately, that's not the right answer. My videos do not teach how to play this game. My videos play this game as it is, rules as written, with a few house rules outright. This is not a teaching series that I use for Inside Pitch. This is not a teaching thing here. It really isn't. My games are designed for people that know already how the game works or want to see it in action without being bogged down by how it works. So, and Brandon Baker and Larry Harris join us here as well. Two awesome people, I should say, just like everybody else in my chat. So, my videos are not designed to teach this game. This video is really not going to teach this game either, but it's going to show you how some of the things work. So I know there are people out there that have questions how to play the game. Clee baseball fan joins us. How to play the game and such, and how some things work and whatnot. We're not going to play a full game. I do not have any lineup set up or anything. We're going to utilize two teams from the 1981 season, because that is the next season you guys voted on to start. Craig Scarborough joins us here, and that is the season you guys decided for me to do starting October 4th. So I thought, okay, we'll use 1981, and we're going to use the two World Series teams from that, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees. I'm going to use the card packs as they are, no fringe players or anything like that, as I'm still working on getting the 81 season set to go. But of course, I got plenty of time. I still have a month before I start the next replay. Like I said, there's going to be, like I said, Brandon, there's going to be some questions. And of course, the biggest questions that everybody asks is, why is base running such a pain in the buns? Now, let me start off by saying, when I first started playing Inside Pitch, the base running mechanics, the ground out mechanics were a pain in the buns. So everybody who plays Inside Pitch now, who is learning the game, I know how you guys feel. But I decided to stick with the game because I liked the gameplay, I liked the engine, and I felt that the game had so much excitement for every dice roll that I decided to stick with it. Inside Pitch, as you know, is played with cards and dice, and has a setup where the pitcher makes a pitch and the batter gets a chance to hit the ball. The game is played with minimal charts. There's only 2 charts used in this whole game. And these charts do not really resolve a play. The play is resolved by the dice. The charts do not resolve a play. They do not usually resolve the play. The dice resolve the play. No charts. Nothing that says ground ball to first, batter out. Ground ball to second, batter out. Ground ball to third, batter goes. Ground ball to third, batter goes from first to second, batter at first out. It's not like that. These charts show you what will happen will help you to resolve the play, but they do not resolve the play. The dice resolve the play. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll answer some questions, of course. But first, let's take a look at the basics of the game. Inside pitch. We're going to, like I said, we're going to use Fernando Valenzuela from the 1981 Los Angeles Dodgers. And we're going to play the game at Yankee Stadium, so I don't have to worry about pitchers batting. So let's see. Who do we use to bat here for the Yankees? Let me see here. Let's see. 1981. This is going to be a fun season to do, I think. Short season due to the strike, but it's going to be a blast. Let's see. Who do we use? Well, why not? We'll use Dave Winfield. Dave Winfield, who was, of course, on the 76 Padres, now finds himself on the 1981 Yankees. So we have Fernando Valenzuela pitching for the Dodgers and Dave Winfield batting for the 1981 New York Yankees. And we'll use the 81 season because that's the season you guys chose. Kind of like a preview a little bit of the next upcoming season starting October 4th. The dice you use a number of dice, and since the Yankees are the home team at Yankee Stadium, we'll use the colors of the Yankees, blue and white. The first die roll is always off the pitcher card. Since there's nobody on base, you don't have to worry about the strategy rolls. The first die roll is based off the pitcher card. Pitcher cards there are only certain results on pitcher's cards that decide what will happen if you go to the batter card, or if the pitcher automatically resolves the play without the batter card. There are a few cases where only the pitcher card is used and the batter card is not. Okay? It's uncommon, but it does happen. It just shows that the pitcher was in full. Usually when that happens, it means the pitcher had full control of the at-bat and pretty much got the batter out without a problem. So let's take a look at Fernando Valenzuela. Let's go ahead and state we had a pitch. So let's say first inning, no score, whatever, nobody on base. So Fernando Valenzuela will get the roll the first one. And we get a 1 and a 3. And usually in this case, I'm going to use, since the Yankees are home, I'm going to use the blue die as the top and the white die as the side. So we got a 1 and a 3 here. 1 and a 3 means you start with the pitcher card and it says RP at sign. This means it's a range play at the ballpark. So you have range play at the ballpark and you have these kind of signs, which mean at the ballpark. These means you go to the ballpark to resolve the play. So the batter card doesn't even come into play here. It goes straight to the ballpark. And then you have, of course, Ks, which are strikeout possibilities, and then you roll against the strikeout. So let's say the die roll was a 1-1. Strikeout possibility, and then you check the batter card. Dave Winfield against the lefty as a 9. And let's say we roll this, and let's say it came up a 3. And that means that the batter has struck out. If it's less than or equal to, this would be a strikeout. If it comes up as a W, like for a walk, you check the batter's walk ratings against left-hander and right-hander. And, of course, now the only thing about home runs can occur only 2 ways. Off the pitcher card if a home run result comes up, or off 3 ways, okay? 3 ways, I should say. Off the pitcher card, off the ballpark card, and, of course, off the batter card if he has a home run symbol right in the matrix. So you're always going to roll the dice on the pitcher card first to the side. If the pitcher card has a symbol in the matrix, you're going to go ahead and follow the symbol. So strikeouts. K plus means strikeout plus 10. So let's say the roll is a 1-5. On a 1-5 against a right-handed, and then you have these divided signs, which are splits. So if on the right side, it's against right-handed batters. Against the left side, it's an automatic blank, and you go to the batter card. Blanks automatically sends you to the batter card, and you resolve the play off the batter card. So since Winfield is a right-handed batter, we use the K, and against now on 1-5 though, you got K plus, so you add 10 to that, which makes against, instead of a 9, it's a 19. Now you always got to check the ballpark card to see if there's any adjustments. Yankee Stadium adds 2 to strikeouts and adds 1 to walks in 1981. 0 to home runs. The ballpark card was made by Chris Davis, kind of a way to help even out the statistics a little bit with help from the ballpark for strikeouts and walks and the occasional home run. In 1981, there were only 71 home runs hit at Yankee Stadium. Remember, this is the 1981 season. They were missing about 50 games due to the strike. Against Fernando Valenzuela's card, you get a K plus, so you're going to add 10 to the strikeout rating of the batter against the pitcher handedness. So in this case, this 9 becomes a 19. Then you add plus 2 from the ballpark, which makes that a 21. Well, since the D20 only goes up to 20, you know that pretty much anything is going to be an automatic strikeout on a K plus. If it's just a K, it's going to be 9 plus 2 is 11. My Basement Media Productions joins us here. Then, of course, you have the error ratings, the range plays, wild pitch ratings. And here's, like I said, a home run result and a walk plus, which works the same way as a strikeout plus. Winfield has splits, too. Against a left-handed batter, on some of these, he would hit a ground ball instead of a single, or he would hit a double instead of a flyout. These splits is what helps designate if a batter is better against lefties or righties. Winfield had more power against left-handed pitching, so he's better against with home runs than he was against righties. The one thing I like about the inside pitch cards, besides the color, they have pretty much a good amount of stats there. And in my opinion, the most important stats: average, home runs, RBI, at-bats, how many games, how many times he stole a base, and how many times he scored. I think that's just fine by me. I don't think you can ask any more for the batter. Pitcher card should have the wins, loss, saves, ERAs, how many innings he pitched, how many strikeouts, how many hits he gave up, and how many walks. Most of the pitcher cards do tell you how many home runs the pitcher gave up that season. Not everyone has that, though. I guess it's only on certain cards that Chris wanted to put that in. A lot of people, the real thing, now pretty much everybody really understands. You roll one dice roll, you get the result from the pitcher card. If it's not resolved here, then you go to the batter card or the ballpark card to get the final result. So let's say we did with the first one was a range play at the park. So then we would roll Yankee Stadium. It's a 4-3, then it goes F7. So F7 would be a fly ball to left field, but this is a range play fly ball to left field. Well, then you have to find a left fielder for the Dodgers. So I'm just going to go ahead to the Dodger lineup here in left field, and we'll take, let's see. We'll take Jay Johnstone. Jay Johnstone didn't have that many at-bats in 1981. As you can see, he only had 83 at-bats. He was in 61 games. So it's a fly ball to left field. So here it says LF. Against Jay Johnstone, the first number is the range. The second is the error. This is error rating. And the third is the arm strength. Coast Kid 1958 Favre shows up here today. Thank you very much for joining me. So as you can see here, he has a 3, 0, and a +1. So his range is a 3 in left field. So let's say this was a fly ball to left field, but it's a range play. So Jay Johnstone has to roll a 3 or lower in order to make the play. Now, since it's a fly ball to the outfield, well, let's first find out if he does. So we roll one die, and it's a 5. So in this case here, he did not make the play. So this ball falls in for a hit. Now, on balls hit to the outfield, you have to roll again to see what kind of a hit it is. A 1 to 4 is a single, and a 5 or 6 is a double. In this case, it would be a single, and Dave Winfield would find himself on first. So range plays work like that. Yep, you have to roll a couple of extra times, but this is a dice game. So automatically says that you have a 3 here. Now, if this roll was instead of a 5 and there was a 3 or lower, Jay Johnstone makes the catch, and it's just a fly out to left. Let's roll again for Fernando Valenzuela. See what comes up. And a 4-1. There again is at the park. So you have here at the park. So you go to Yankee Stadium. Pretty much every pitcher card has at least 2 at the parks, one range play at the park, 1 KW for fatigue, 1 double question mark, at least 1 error on a throw, 1 error on a grounder, 1 error question mark, and 2 range plays. That's automatic on that's automatic on every pitcher card. Every pitcher card has at least 1 of each of those symbols. The rest is what gets turned in to get the stats. That's done by Chris Davis. So you have strikeouts, you have error on a grounder. So let's say again, it was an error of ball at the park. So we roll again on Yankee Stadium, and it comes up a 6-4. In this case, 6-4 says double star 6. This is a star line, which features that this is going to be an automatic out, and it says double star 6, and you refer to the pitcher's star line, and then roll to the number, and it says 6. And 6 is a fly out to right. So Winfield would have flown out to right on that play. Do another one. Let's say a 2-6. Here's a 2-6. Wild pitch. So Fernando Valenzuela has a possible wild pitch. You got his wild pitch ratings is 1 to 9, 10 to 11 for a pass ball. We got a 1. Well, he threw a wild pitch. But of course, there's nobody on base, so it wouldn't have mattered. But if there was somebody on base, and we'll go ahead and put Mike Scioscia as the base runner, okay, for the Dodgers. Mike Scioscia would automatically move to second on a wild pitch. All base runners will move 1 base automatically. No chance for throw out or anything like that, unless it's a rare play or something of that occurrence, which I don't even think he has that in there. A wild pitch usually will always allow a base runner. Let's try again. So you have a 4-4. Now you have error on a grounder. Now an error on a grounder the error on a grounder means if it's a ground ball, it could be a possible error on where the ball was hit to. Now let's see what Dave Winfield says. 4-5. Now here is an error. Now here it comes as a ground ball, and that says G5, which is a ground ball to third. This is a ground ball, so error on a grounder will take into effect to see if an error is out there. So let's get a third baseman here for the Dodgers, and we'll give them Ron Cey. So Ron Cey is the third baseman for the Dodgers. This is a G5, and G5, of course, the 5 means third. So it's a ground ball to third. Ron Cey's error rating is the second. Remember, the first rating is range. The second is error. Ron Cey has a 13 error rating here, which means pretty much if an error chance is happening his way, he's got a 65% chance of making an error. And that's not great. That's not very good. So Ron Cey could make an error here on a 13. You check the D20 that's originally rolled as a 9. Here it would be an error because the 9 falls under the 13. 13 or lower would be an error, and that is a 9, and that would be an error on a grounder. And since it's only an error on a grounder, Winfield, okay, makes first base automatically. Now, what if a situation comes up where, now, in the third edition rules, Chris Davis decided to change a few things for S1 to S6. Error on a grounder or error question mark will no longer make errors if a ball is hit to S4, is hit to S6, S4, anywhere, S5, S1, all right, or S3. They're now considered possible infield singles. So let's say the roll was a 4-4 and it says S4, but it was an error on a grounder. This is no longer an error on a grounder. This is now a possible infield single, which now uses the batter's base running rating to try to make first. There are no modifications on the base running rating. It's straight base running rating by the pitcher, by the batter. So let's say if it was hit, so if the ball was hit to second base, and the second baseman in this case for the Dodgers is Davey Lopes. Okay, Davey Lopes has his ability here. All right, Davey Lopes is at second. So if he's at second base, the ball is hit to second. Dave Winfield has a base running rating of 5. He was very quick in 1981. You're going to roll 1d6 to see if he makes it to first. And that is a 5, which is under his base running rating, and that will allow him to get an infield single. If that was a 6, Winfield would have been out at first. It would not have been an infield single. Base runners, all base runners on possible infield singles, whether the batter at first is thrown out or not, automatically advance one base. It doesn't matter. There's no chance of a throw out. It's an automatic base advance. It's a slow rolling grounder is what that is. There's no way to get the base runner. The only player is going to be at first. The question is, do they get him? The reason why he did this was promote a little extra excitement on some infield singles. The only time you can have an error on an S1, on an S3, S4, S5, S6, or S1 if it's an ET, an error on a throw. If an error on a throw occurs, if an S4 occurs, if an S1 to S6 occurs on an ET question mark, it's an automatic infield single. But then you got to check the throwing error to see if he tried to get the batter out anyway. In this case, if Ron Say had a rating of 13, as an error rating of 13, and that 9 was rolled, Ron Say decides, I'm still going to try to throw you out. He throws the ball away. It's an automatic extra base for everybody, including the batter. That was a rule change that Chris Davis did, okay, for infield singles to create a little bit more excitement. I really don't think it's good. I don't think it skews anything. I actually like the rule. It makes it interesting and allows a little bit more base running, okay, on the field, due to the infield singles. Pitchers have three. Usually every pitcher has 3 these symbols on every one of them. KW, double question mark, and S1. These symbols are used when a pitcher is tired. Fernando Valenzuela has 30 batters he can face before facing fatigue. It's amazing. You guys know so many baseball games that are out there. Okay, Stratomatic, Payoff Pitch, APA, Inside Pitch, of course, Fall Classic Baseball, Pine Tar Baseball, Season Ticket Baseball, Deep Drive Baseball, On Base Advanced. There are maybe 100 different baseball games. Not one of them do pitcher fatigue the same as everybody else. That is amazing. Nobody does pitcher fatigue the same exact way. Payoff Pitch uses innings. Inside Pitch uses batters faced. Stratomatic uses innings. APA uses batters faced or innings, depending on what your decision may be. Everybody does a different way of making a pitcher tired. Some of the games devastate a pitcher when they're tired. I mean, devastate them. They make them almost completely useless. I disagree with that notion. Inside Pitch may be the one game that mildly fatigues a pitcher, okay, when he's tired. That means out of the 36 cells on a matrix, 3 are going to come into play that can make a pitcher tired. Now, in this case, if an S1 is rolled and he's not tired, this is a blank and you go to the batter card. If he is tired, then this S1 is a single up the middle. This is a double question mark where you go to here, all right? If this falls under here, he is supposed to be exhausted. Same thing. That's an optional rule that is used in the game to help that if a pitcher is tired and the dice roll lands on any one of these kind of results, the pitcher is exhausted, and I actually follow the rule. He's immediately removed, automatically removed no matter what. So that's how you tire a pitcher and exhaust them. The other number here is a pull rating. This is optional. I use it sometimes to gauge a bad pitcher that usually might have a high ERA. Let's see if I can yank him out early. I usually will not yank out a pitcher by his pull, unless he at least has reached his pull rating. A pull rating hit, anytime there's a hit, a walk, a run scored, it always goes against the pull rating. So Fernando Valenzuela was to give up 7 hits, 4 walks and 3 runs, that's 14 against the 14 numbers against his pull rating, and he could be pulled if you wish to use it that way. That's optional. The pull rating is optional. Okay, I happen to like the rule. I happen to like the rule for certain cases. But so pretty much, this is all pretty much self-explanatory. The basic rules: you roll the dice, get the result from the pitcher card, then go to the batter. If there's nothing here on the pitcher card, so let's say a 6-4 result. Let's say we have a 6-4 off the pitcher card. That's an automatic out with a double star. And you just roll the die again. It's a 5, and he flies out the left. This flies out the center. This means that Fernando Valenzuela just had complete command of the at-bat and took care of the batter. Pretty much what that does. Because pitchers usually have command of the at-bat, unless, of course, things go hard, okay, for the pitcher against the batter. On a batter card, you've got, split. You got the results of G4, G5, where the ball is hit to, single, D's, doubles, and, of course, split rating. So if against a left-handed pitcher, Dave Winfield in this result would get a double to center. If Fernando Valenzuela was a right-hander, this would be a fly out to center. And, of course, against certain ratings here. Some have the cookie cutter cards. Jay Johnstone is one of them here, which I know Chris Davis doesn't like using the name cookie cutter. Jay Johnstone, 11, 10, and 19s across the board. He only had 3 home runs. I don't know how many home runs Jay Johnstone had against lefties or righties in that year. I've not checked that. But this is an example of what is called a cookie cutter card, where no matter what the pitcher is, Johnstone can hit a home run. Even if he had no home runs against lefties in 81, he could hit a home run against here. David Baseball Demos is completely right in what he says. He doesn't like that. I actually asked Chris about that, and he says, hey, what's to say that in a replay, a left-hander cannot hit Jay Johnstone could never hit a home run off a lefty? You know what? It's hard to, does it really take away anything from the realism? Maybe in a way from the statistics a little bit, but, it's still a game, and you want to be as accurate as possible. But I understand what he's talking about. Maybe Valenzuela will throw him a fat pitch in a replay, and he'll go ahead and belt a home run. I played a number of games I played many games and such, that where a batter should never hit a home run, and sometimes he does. It just happens sometimes. Stratomatic has a good feature where if the batter has like a W, is weak against lefties, or an N against something like that, then even if a home run is given up off the pitcher card, all right, unless the batter has a W, or maybe he can't hit the home run. Stratomatic has some very good rating system. I can't knock their ratings. They're usually pretty on touch on the mark. So this is the answer of a cookie cutter. Me personally, I'm not going to deface the cards. This is what he gave them, and this is how I'm going to play it. And for those of you that don't like it or something like that, hey, when you get the game, you can change the cards if you like. David Baseball Demos has done that. He whited out some of this answers. He went ahead and did his own. Statistics to check and see, what happened, and say, okay, there'll be no chance of a home run there. However, there's always but then again, it's always a possibility if you're at a stadium with a +1 homer. It can happen. Not every game engine is perfect, my friends, but as I said, that is how you get a chance. Now, here you have a question mark 8, which means this ball was hit to center field, and you're going to roll up here to find out if it's a single or a double. Anything else is a fly out, would be a fly out. And you can see here, like on Dave Winfield's card and such, every card is different. So one thing I love about Inside Pitch, every card is different. Not a single card is the same, at least in a certain way. I don't know if he randomly does a setup for each matrix. I really don't know if he randomly set up or he automatically has certain ways. How he does the game is not the objective of the stream. The objective is to help you guys out with certain things, that I see a lot of people asking me about how to play this and how to play that. Okay, now let's go to the big elephant. Let's go to the elephant in the room. Base running. Base running. Okay, let's go to the elephant in the room. One of the reasons why a lot of people get turned off by inside pitch is because of the base running mechanics. As I said, when I first got this game, base running confused the heck out of me, and I said, this may not be right for me. I'm going to put it away. But the thing about it is as I got into more of the game, I realized the game you really have no idea how this game is going to go. And every game is different. Every game plays differently. Every game you have no idea how the dice are on a roll. Because, as I said, the dice resolve every single play. It's not done by a chart. It's not done by a card. It's resolved by the dice. These only go ahead and will, of course, the cards will give you the final play. But if a play continues after a hit for base running or whatever, the dice resolve it. So let's get to base running. So let's see what we're going to do here. So let's take off. Let's put Sosha here. Let's see. We don't need Lopes. We don't need Say. And we'll leave Johnstone because we need outfielders. Because pretty much outfielders is what is right now. Let's see. So who we're going to put out there? Let's put Pedro Guerrero in right. And we'll put Landro in center. There you go. And we'll take Sosha off here. Before we do that. Actually, no. Let's change Sosha. We actually got to use a Yankee, don't we? Let's see. Yankee. Let's use Lupinella. Let's put Lupinella at first. Why not? Put Lupinella at first. And Kenny Landro is not at first. He's in the outfield. So he's not at second base. He is at the outfield. So you have your right field, your center fielder, and your left field. Base running is the big elephant where everybody has issues concerning base running. He actually tried to streamline it a little better in version 3, although some people are still confused. The version 3 rule book, okay, in my opinion, was done very well. Although other people have issues reading it, I had no issues with this. Plus, he annotated it as best as he possibly could. Okay, so let's do base running. And we'll use the chart. The first base running check will be from here. S3, S4, S1, S6, S5. These are base hits that are through the infield. If it's not an error on a throw, error on a grounder, or an error question mark, these are base hits through the infield next to the position that it was hit to. So we'll do these first. These are very simple. And he actually tells you exactly how to advance the base runs. So let's say Dave Winfield, Fernando Valenzuela makes a hit, and Winfield does an S4. So that would be a 5-4 on the dice. So we'll go 5 and 4. So a 5-4 on the dice. So it's an S4. So the ball was hit past second base. Check the chart. To get from first to third, and Lupinella is on first base. To get from first to third, on a single pass to second baseman, his base running rating has to be between 3 and 6. Well, Lupinella has a base running rating of 3. So if Dave went, and let's say there's nobody out. So base running rating of 3. So on a single pass second, Lupinella would wind up on third automatically, and that's it. I don't understand the situation. Look at the chart real quick. It takes a second to look at it, and then go back to the game, and you already know Lupinella is on third base. Just like that. He's on third. Let's say Dave Winfield hits an S5. So let's say that's a 6-5 instead of a 5-4. So it's an S5. Check the chart. S5. On an S5, the only way a runner from first to get to third is if a speed rating is a 6. I think the 6 speed rating is very, very rare. I don't believe any batter anywhere has a speed rating of 6. But a 6 can occur because if there's 2 outs. But let's say there's only 1 out. Lou Piniella has nobody out. Lou Piniella's base running rating is a 3, so he would not make third. So Lou Piniella stops at second, and that's it. No more base running. Done. And of course, Dave Winfield is on at first base. Now let's switch it. Let's put Lou Piniella at the plate and put Dave Winfield at first base instead. Winfield is very quick. He's got a 5. Okay. He had a number of stolen bases as well. He had 11. Not many, but he was very, very fast in 1981 with a base run rating of 5. So let's say Lou Piniella, he hits an S5. S5, of course, is a 6. But let's say there are 2 outs. If there are 2 outs, big clue joins us here. If there are 2 outs, you always add 1 to the base running rating of the runners because they're off on contact. With 2 outs, they always figure the runners are off on contact and they're already, pretty much Dave Winfield would already be halfway to second base before the pitch is even thrown, as the pitch is thrown to Lou Piniella. So his 5 becomes a 6. He would make it to third with a 6. But if he's 1 out or lower, Winfield would have to stop at third on a ball hit past the third baseman. Because usually the ball is hit to left field, and he will throw the ball here to maybe cut off to make sure Winfield can't make it. It's pretty self-explanatory here for S3, S4, S1, S6, S5. On second to home, it's different, of course, as you can tell. So let's put let's put Lou Piniella on at second, and we'll put Winfield back at the plate. Let's say Winfield hits an S4. So he hits a ball past the second baseman. Lou Piniella's base running rating is a 3. Let's say there's 1 out. You check the second to home now. Past the second baseman, a 2 to a 6 will bring the batter from second to home. So a 2 to a 6, Piniella with a base running rating of 3, he scores on a ball hit past second. This section here is the easy part of the runner advancement modifiers. That's all it is. And in S1, everybody scores from second base on a ball hit past the pitcher. Now, he does not have S2. He does not have S2. That's because S2, all right, I don't think is on any batter card. The only way you can have an S2 is a failed range play at the plate by the catcher. If the catcher cannot make the play, it's just an automatic 1 base advance. That's very simple. Batters aren't going to go 2 bases when the ball is hit at the plate. So 3 to 6 S6, 5 to 6. This is all pretty simple here. Base runner, range runner, advance. Otherwise, they hold, no throw needed. So this is the easy part of runner advancement. S3, S4, S1, S6, S5. The only modification you need to do is if there's 2 outs. If there's 2 outs, you add 1 to the base running rating of every base runner. If it's not, it's whatever their ratings are right there. That's the only calculation you got to do for runner advancement when a ball is hit through the infield from S1 to S6. So, okay. That's the only calculation you got to do. Got to add 1. Now we do the ones where everybody gets frustrated. The ball's hit to the outfield. As I said, it took a while for me to actually get used to it. But now you see how quickly I can do second nature. It took a long time. And watching some videos from Tony Porter, who has very good videos on hey, Woodman 564. Oh no, you're not late. I don't know how long I'll do this, but you're not late at all. It's not a ball game. This is just a Q&A show, and balls hit to the outfield. This is what everybody has issues with inside pitch. You're not wrong. Nobody is wrong. So how do you calculate if a base runner goes from where to where? That's where the dice come into effect. All right. Let's say Dave Winfield at the plate. Valenzuela makes a blank, and Winfield goes ahead and hits a ball to, let's go to S7. We'll hit it to Johnstone. So let's say it's a 4-2 off the batter card. So it's a 4-2 off the batter card, and we don't need to worry about the D20 at the moment. 4-2 on the batter card, it's an S7. So this is a single to left field. It didn't even make this is pretty much a line. What it really is, it's a line drive into left field is what it really is. It's a line drive to left that just went through that didn't touch the infield, that didn't touch the infield clay and wound up into the outfield is what that is. Okay. That's pretty much how I read that. Any S1 to S6 is a ball grounded through the infield past the infielder. S8, S7, S8, S9, or I should say SDT 7, 8, and 9 are all line drives in the outfield. They don't touch infield clay or infield grass at all. So we got a ball hit the left field. Okay. So the ball is hit the left. First thing you got to do, is find out where the ball was hit to. So we know the ball is hit the left. So let's check the chart. The base runner is Lou Piniella. You check the chart. Let's say an S7. S7. On a ball hit to left field from first to third, in order for the batter to get to third base, it's going to be a -2 to his base running rating. A -2 to his base running rating. So pretty much, if you're at first base, it's going to be unless you have at least a 3, it's going to be very difficult for you to get to third on a ball hit the left, because usually you're heading towards a base where the ball is already close to, and that's why you need to have speed at first base in order to make a third if the ball is hit into the outfield. So Lou Piniella's base running rating goes from a 3 automatically to a 1. Let's check Jay Johnstone. Now you check the outfielder arm. Jay Johnstone in left field has a +1 arm rating, which means it's not that strong. It's pretty weak. Arm ratings for outfielders are -2, -1, 0, +1, and +2. Chris Davis does not go any lower than +2 or any higher than -2. So you got a +2, you got a +1 arm. Because Johnstone really does not have that great an arm, Lou Piniella's base running was a 3, -2 becomes a 1, but because Johnstone has a +1 arm, it is a 2. So the final chance, and now if there is 2 outs, Lou Piniella gets a +1 from the second out. So his base running rating would actually still be a 3. But let's say there's only 1 out, and his base running rating is now modified to a 2. So that means in order for Lou Piniella to get to third, you roll the dice, and on a 2 or lower, he will make it to third. A 3 or 5, and I'll show it here. So, and then you check the roll. 1, you check the second die roll of a roll 2.1 chart. 2 to 5, if roll is higher than ABR, then run. ABR stands for adjusted base running rating. Then runner holds. This applies to all runners that were on base. Otherwise, they advance a base. If there's a 6, there's a possibility of an out. So pretty much any time a ball is hit to the outfield, there is always a 16% chance that there could be an out. Not a definite, but there could be an out. There's also at least a 16% chance that the batter can take another base. A roll of 1 is only designed for the batter. If a roll of 1 occurs, the batter has a chance to take an extra base on the throw. Throws really occur on a 1 or a 6. The 2 to 5 pretty much decides where the base runners end up. So let's see. So Lou Piniella's base running rating is a 3. Now, some people roll 2 dice at a time, and you can roll 3 dice at a time now. So if I wanted to, I could roll all 3 dice. Say the blue would be the first die, second would be the second die, and the 5 would decide what happens. Me, I like rolling them 1 at a time. I like rolling them one at a time. Is what I prefer doing for suspense reasons when you guys are watching my games. Remember the throw that Gary Maddox made from the outfield to go ahead and throw out the player at the home plate in Game 5 of the World Series? That was the play of the game, wasn't it? That was the play of the game. Even though the home runs were big, but that was the play of the game because that prevented the game from being tied at that time. So you can have a lot of excitement seeing what happens here. So Lou Piniella, now with a ball hit to left field, so it's -2, +1. So it's really a -1. So you got a base running rating of 2. So we roll the first die, and it's a 5. Since the die roll is not a 6, but it's not 2 or lower, Lou Piniella will stop at second, and that's it. And any other base runners that are on base will only take the 1 extra base because since the lead runner didn't move on, they can only take 1 extra base. And of course, Dave Winfield is on first, and that takes care of that. Let's say the ball is at the center field. Dave Winfield hits one to center. That would be a 1-4 here for an S8. So let's go to 1-4 for an S8, single to center field. Kenny Landreau now is the guy. Kenny Land on a single to center to get from first to third is -1. So Lou Piniella has a 3, automatically becomes a -1, which is a 2. Kenny Landreau has a good arm. He's a -1 in center field, even though his range is not good in center. But he has a -1 arm, so he's got a very good chance of making runners either throwing out a runner or making them hold. So Lou Piniella would only be able to advance to third on a 1. That's a 3. He stays put. He would also stay put at second base on that. Now let's say Lou Piniella does roll the 1. So Lou Piniella rolls a 1. In this case, Lou Piniella actually does get to third. Only on a roll of 1 can the batter attempt to take an extra base. If a roll of 1 occurs, you then go ahead, all right, and roll, okay, you roll again to see, all right, if the batter takes the next base. So you roll a white die, and that would be a 6. Winfield's base running rating is a 5. That's a 6. So even though Lou Piniella made it to third, Winfield would not make it to second because his base running rating is lower than the die roll. If this was like a 5, Winfield would go ahead and take second on the throw. Some batters can take an extra base on a throw. So a throw was made to third. Piniella was safe. Winfield saw it with a very fast base running rating, and he takes second on the throw. If this was if the die roll was a 2, Lou Piniella would still take third, and any runners behind him would take an extra base. But Winfield would be stuck at base running rate, would still stay at first base as he only gets the single and allows the runners to move up. And you can always check the charts here to see what's next. Lead runner advances. If roll is higher than the trailing runner's base running rating, no adjustment. You're supposed to roll 2 dice. Supposed to roll 2 dice at the same time. You can really roll at least 2 dice. So you roll 2 dice. That's your first die. That's your second die, or whatever you want to use it. If you want the white die to be, I always think, blue die will be first or second die will be next. You roll 2 dice, what you're normally supposed to do. Me, I just roll it. I just like to roll 1 die at a time. Okay, so I know what to go on to the next step. Let's say the ball is hit to right field instead. So we'll put Lou Piniella back here. Dave Winfield, okay, let's say he hits a ball to right. It's having an S9. So let's say it's a 1-1. So a 1 and a 1. So now we have a single to right field. Pedro Guerrero's in right. He's got very good range. He's got a range of a 4 out in right field. Very good range. Okay, very good range. So usually on a range play into right field, Guerrero is going to have a 66% chance of tracking that down. Not bad. However, he has a +1 arm in right field. So this means that even though he's got great range, he doesn't have that great an arm. So on a ball hit to right field, S9, 1 to third, +2. Because the ball was hit to over here, Piniella's going over here. it's for the ball is further away, and it gives batters, base runners on first base, a better chance to get there. So automatically his base running rating becomes a 3, becomes a 5. Becomes a 5 when you add the +2. Pedro Guerrero, you add the arm, +1 is a 6. Since a 6 is there, you're already at 6, there is no throw made at all. It's an automatic advance by Piniella. There is no throw. Pedro Guerrero said, I'm not going to get him. It's well hit. I'm just going to toss it into the infield, and Piniella, it's kind of like conceding the base. There's nothing Guerrero could do about it. Pinella's just too quick on the ball, too quick. So you concede the throw. Is pretty much what you're doing here. You're conceding the throw. And of course, if there were 2 outs, Pinella's base running rating is a 3. Okay, becomes a 4 with 2 outs. And you add here S plus 9 plus 2 would be a 6. It's already a 6, but you still got to check the outfielder. It could have been hit to Kenny Landreau, who maybe Guerrero had a -1 arm. Anything that's a 5 or lower, you still need to roll to see if the base runners take the next base. No charts, no cards that say, automatic 2-base advance. You might have a batter who's slow. You might have a base runner who's slow as molasses at first base. There really should be no way he can get to second unless the ball was hit well or too softly. No charts that say the base runner went here. Now, of course, calculations. Okay, fine. Does it slow the game down? It does. It does slow the game down. It can slow the game down if you're just learning the system. If you're starting the system, but don't let it frustrate you. Learn it. Play it. If the game is exciting to play it. If it's not exciting or it's not your cup of tea, then move on to a different game. There are so many great choices out there. Now, let's say we have a runner on second. So let's put Piniella on second. Balls hit the left field. Pretty much second to home is usually close to an automatic score, but not always. So if a ball's hit the left, center, or right, +1 to get from second to home, +2, and then +1. And it states here, ABR less than 1, no throw, no advance. ABR higher than 5, no throw, runner advances 1 base. Now, what if the base running rating becomes a 0? Let's choose, let's get a different player out there. So instead of Lou Piniella, let's put out, let's see. How about, let's see. How about, no, why not? How about Bobby Mercer, who's slow as mud? Bobby Mercer in 1981 played only about 50 games for the Yankees that year. Cookie cutter card, as you can see, 20-10-9, whatever. I have no problem with it. Some people do, as I said. I have no issue with this. Bobby Mercer is a base running rating of 1. This guy is mud. All right. Matter of fact, mud may be faster than he is. All right. Bobby Mercer, he has a 1 rating of 1. Let's say Winfield hits a single to center field. So we add +2. So his base running rating is a 3. There's 2 outs, it becomes a 4. But let's say it's not 2 outs. Let's say the ball is hit to left field. Actually, let's say it's hit to center field instead. Center field to Kenny Landreau. For the heck of it, we'll put Mercer here so you can see Landreau's arm rating there. Okay. Bobby Mercer, let's say the ball is hit to center. Center field is a +2. But better, we'll put Mercer on it first. We'll put Mercer at first. So his base running rating is a 1. The ball's at the left field. Left field, it's a -2. So Bobby Mercer automatically has a 1, and a ball hit the left field. -2 is a -1. The left fielder, Jay Johnstone, has a +1 arm, which makes it a 0. If it's a 0, there's no way Mercer can get to third anyway. So Mercer automatically holds. If it's a 0 on a base, when you do the calculations, 0 or less, base runners advance 1 base on a single, 2 bases on a double, And I don't have to worry about 3 bases on a triple because anytime anybody it's a triple, the bases are cleared. If it's a 6 or higher, all runners advance 1 base on a single, at least take the extra base on a single, take the extra base on a double, and so on. Doubles, same thing here, as you can see. Now a double. Doubles are D7, D8, and D9. You have -1 on a double hit to left, +1 on a double to center, -1 on a double to right. Same thing. Let's use Bobby Mercer. And let's say that Dave Winfield smacked a double to left field here off of Fernando Valenzuela. So D against the left-handed pitcher, this is a D, and a D7. So double to left. Mercer's base running rating is a 1. Double to left, -1 automatically makes it a 0. Jay Johnstone, however, in left field is a +1 arm. So that actually raises it to 1. So Mercer actually does have a chance to score from first base. So the only way he can score the first die roll, if it's a 1 or lower, he scores. It's a 3. He would stop it. It's a 3. So he would stop at third, and Dave Winfield, of course, stops at second base. If it's a 1 or if it was a 1, Mercer scores, and Winfield is at second base, and he has a chance to get to third on the throw. So you roll the die, it's a 1. Let's say the second die roll was a 1, and he would take third on the throw. The calculations is where the ball was hit to, okay, the base running rating of the runner, where the ball was hit to, and of the throwing arm of the outfielder, and of course if there's 2 outs. Now what if you have multiple base runners? Let's take Lou Piniella back and let's put him at second base. So now we have Lou Piniella on at second, and you have Bobby Mercer on at first. Let's try this, because this can get a little confusing what happens here. Dave Winfield, let's say he hits a double to center. Let's say he hits a double to center, do I want to use, or a single? Single to center. Single to center with 2 outs. So Winfield hits a single to center. Now you got multiple base runners here. You got a chance to see what happens on a runner from second to home or runners from first to third. The first runner you check is second to home because he's the lead base runner, and you start with the second to home first. You got to first see if Lou Piniella scores, okay? Because if he stops at third, you know Mercer can't go any further. So let's say, so with a single to center, +2. So it's 3 + 2 is 5, okay? And the center fielder is Landreau. -1 is a 4. But we're going to go ahead and play this a little weirdly. I'm going to put Guerrero for the sake of argument. I'm going to put Guerrero into center field here because of his arm rating. Guerrero in center field has a +1 arm in center. So Lou Piniella has a 3. Then +1 is 4, and a single to center, this +2 is a 6, okay? It's a 6. So we automatically know there is no throw, at least home. There is no way Guerrero can get Piniella out at home. So we know there is no throw at home, so you do not make the throw, does not go. If there was a throw made, it's not made to home. Piniella comes in to score. Piniella comes in to score. If there are 2 different chances of base runners, if there was no throw at home, okay, fine. Was there a throw to third to get Mercer, to get maybe an out or a trailing runner as such? So Bobby Mercer, now we go straight. So we go straight from there. So if there was no play at home plate, there may be a play at third. So Mercer, we go check his base running rating. So then instead of going from second to home, now you check the first to third. You always check second to home first if there's anybody at second base. You don't need to check third because any base hit, a runner at third automatically scores, obviously. So you don't have to worry about that. The base running calculations is an adjusted base running rating, and that is where the ball was hit to. So you add where the ball was hit to with the outfield arm, okay, of the thrower, and of course if there's one or two outs. Now, what if there's an out? So let's say Bobby Mercer's base running rating is a 1, and he's going to go try to get the third. Ball is hit to center field. Pedro Guerrero has a +1 arm. And it's first to third, hit to center, so a -1. So the only way Mercer can get to third is on a 1. So let's say the first roll is a 6. A 6 means there's a possible out here. There's a possible out. So Mercer is now rounding second. He's already made second base, but he's now thinking about going to third. This is where the second die roll comes in. And that is a 6. Now, what you do on the second die roll is he did not, in version 2 of the game system, Chris Davis did not factor in the outfielder arms as much as he could. He really did a job here with the arm checks. Now outfielder arms come in much more in play. Hence, one of the reasons why that great play was made in Game 5 of my 76 World Series. And if you've not watched that game, please check it out. It's one of the games. It was one of the games of the year nomination. So, if a roll is a 6, then you got to roll the second die. And it says here, check second die on tick point 2.6 chart right here. Pedro Guerrero's arm rating in center field is a +1. In order for a out to occur, he has to be a 1 to 2. So here you would roll the die another time. And that is a 5. Since a 3 to 6, all runners hold, pretty much Mercer says, now I'll go back to second base. And the play stops there. Nothing else happens. Nothing else happens. But let's say it is a 1 to a 2. So let's say a 1 comes up. If there's a 1 to a 2, that means there is going to be an out. There's a 97% chance it's going to be an out unless a rundown occurs. We don't get many of those, but they do happen. And that's when you go ahead and check. That's when you go ahead and check this chart. So then you go ahead and you roll the die one more time, a third die. Now remember, some people say they get tired of rolling dice. Then roll all 3 if you want then. It's fine. So you get a 4. And then you'll just check the chart. Lead runner thrown out. If roll higher than trailing runners, base running rating, then runner holds. Otherwise, advance 1 base. So let's say and the trailing runner can be the batter. So Bobby Mercer is definitely thrown out at third by Pedro Guerrero. The roll was a 4. Dave Winfield's base running rating is a 5. He would take second on the throw here. On that throw to get the runner out, Mercer is out, but Winfield would advance to second on the throw. If the roll was a 6, okay, then of course you have here. Now it's also a possibility that 2 to 5, usually the lead runner can be thrown out. But on rolls of 1 or a 6, the lead runner still advances and they get the trailing runner. So if this was a roll of a 1, Bobby Mercer would have still made third, but the ball was cut off by maybe an infielder, threw to second, and decided to get Winfield out at second base because he's the trailing runner. He would be out. So the rule is very simple is, if there's going to be an out, all right, and it falls under the base run, the outfielder's throwing arm, all right, the outfielder's throwing arm, then you just roll the next die, and you already know a 2 to 5, the lead runner was thrown out. A 1 or a 6, a 1 comes up, the lead runner advances, and the runner behind the base runner is thrown out. Now, if it's a 6, you get the rundown, and then you get the rundown chart here. I don't think there's not much really need to go through this. This is pretty much self-explanatory. What I'm trying to help you guys out is with the computations, the calculations. Some people say, some people say they don't want to worry about calculations, they just want to roll dice. In that case, just play basic Stratomatic. Oh, by the way, super advanced Stratomatic, you are making calculations during that game, yes, and the calculations are usually done for base stealing and such. Every game has calculations. You always got to look at a chart for something. Not every game has every single possible result off the card. You have to look at a chart somewhere. Stratomatic, got to look at a chart if it's an X rating. If you're not using the fast action cards for payoff pitch, you got to look at a chart to find out what happens, to see what happens on certain base runners or such. Same thing with APA. APA is nothing but charts. And then, of course, and Fall Classic, you got to look at a chart if you're not using the fast action card. And still you have error charts you still got to look at. So if anybody tells me there's no game out there that uses charts, wrong. And maybe there is. I could be wrong. But I have not seen a game yet where every single result is off the batter card. Yes, Stratomatic has pretty much everything off their cards, pitcher or batter, true. Okay, but if it's an X rating, you still got to check a chart. And if ground ball A, ground ball B, ground ball C, you got to check a chart. So I don't know what the problem is with charts. There's only 2 charts you use for inside pitch. This one and that one. That's it. And then, of course, there's the rare play chart, but that's rare plays. So I don't understand the problem. The calculations are to get the advanced base running rating is runner's base running rating plus where the ball was hit to, plus or minus the outfielder arm, and, of course, if there are 2 outs. That's it. That's it for base hits to the outfield. That's it, guys. I don't understand. But guess what? I'm saying now that's it. But trust me, I had many an issue. I had many an issue trying to figure that out when I first started playing the game. So here I am saying that's it, but then again, I am contradicting myself because where some of the guys are, all right, now when they're first trying to learn and play the game, I know how they feel. That's how you do base hits to the outfield. It's like I said, it's pretty simple. And by the way, the new version of Inside Pitch. The new version of Inside Pitch comes with the field. Comes with the baseball field. A laminated field. And actually shows you on the field where you get the information. So if you want to go ahead and use the baseball field instead of what you use, okay, your information is right here. It's right here. He put it on the field. He made special counters that you can go ahead and cut out and use for baseball. It's a working scoreboard. There's not many games out there that provide a field and a working scoreboard. There's not many of them out there. Right now, I think Inside Pitch may be the only one, but I'm not sure. But you get a working scoreboard with your field. And here's your information right here. Use this as the chart then. And you can use this to find out what the base running ratings are for pawns if you want to use that instead of what I use. I get it. But the information is here. The rule book, yeah, it could still be a little bit hectic to understand. But there is no perfect rule book out there. Okay, now so that takes care of base hits. What about ground outs? Oh boy. What about double plays? What about fly outs and all that stuff? What about ground outs? Okay. Let's see. Who do we use? Let's use Bobby Mercer here. Double plays and stuff like that. Infield, a double play death. Bobby Mercer is out. I got to take out the outfielders. Let's move for the heck of it. Let's move. Let's see. Let's take out the outfielders. I got to put in some infielders on there. So let's see. Let's get some infielders in there. So how about let's use Lopes for second base. Actually, use Lopes for second base and Bill Russell for shortstop. So Bill Russell is the shortstop and Davey Lopes will be at second base. Double plays. Double plays, I think, can be a little bit can be a little clunky when you first get to use them, but you guys know how quickly I can do it. Okay, so a ground ball to second. Davey Lopes makes the play. So grounder to second. Infield's a double play depth. So we check the double play rating of the batter, 3, minus the double play rating, plus or minus the double play rating of the pitcher, how well he allows them to play. So -1 is a 2. Then the pivot rating of the ball that's being the pivot rating of the relay thrower. So let's say it's at the second, which means Bill Russell is going to be the pivot man, and he has a arm rating of 0. So he has no pivot rating. So I quickly go 3, 2, 3, because double play automatically adds 1 to a double play. Okay, because the infield is set at double play depth, designed to get a double play. It does take away range plays. It does hurt a range play possibility where Russell would be a 4 and Lopes would be a 2. But you sacrifice a range play check, okay, in order to turn 2. So 3, 2, 3. Shortstop, pivot rating is 0. So a 1 to 3. It's a 3. Double play, done. That calculation took me 3 seconds? Now let's go ahead and do that slowly. Dave Winfield's ground ball double play rating is a 3. So this is so pretty much and he hits a grounder, it's going to be a good chance he's going to hit into a double play. Fernando Valenzuela has a -1 GDP. So he doesn't get many double play balls. So he doesn't get many twin killings to help him out. Bill Russell and Davey Lopes have 0s, okay, at the pivot rating. So if the ball was at the shortstop, Lopes is the pivot man with a 0 rating. The ball was hit to Lopes, Russell's the pivot man with a 0 pivot rating. So there's no increase or decrease to the double play result. Bobby Mercer's base running rating is a 1. When the infield is at double play depth, it pretty much is saying that the first baseman is holding on Mercer. His base running rating becomes a 0 for the result. You always subtract 1 from the base running rating of the base runner on first when the infield is at double play depth. So if we were to switch this, and Dave Winfield was at first base, his base running rating would be a 4 instead of a 5 on a possible double play. You roll the double play die. If it's a 1, so then we check. Now we'll lose Mercer. So it's still a 3. -1 is a 2. +1 from the double play rating is 3. And there's no pivot increase or decrease. So a 1 to 3 would be a double play because Mercer grounds out into a lot of them. But what if it's higher than the 3 and it's a 4? So let's say the double play rating is a 4. If it's higher than the double play chance, the thing you got to do is check the base running rating of the first baseman to see if he advances to second. Dave Winfield's base running rating is a 5. But because the infield's double play depth becomes a -1, so that becomes a 4. That is a 4. Since his base running rating is still equal to or less than the roll, Winfield, because of his speed, takes second and Mercer is thrown out at first. If this die roll was a 5, if the die roll is a 5, okay, Winfield would be out at second and Mercer takes first base on a fielder's choice. Then, of course, there is the dreaded 6. The dreaded 6 on double plays. The dreaded 6. Why is that dreaded? Because it can absolutely keep rallies going. According to Chris Davis, and he will not budge on this, I said, okay, fine. If a 6 is rolled on a double play chance, no matter what, there is no double play. The play was made to first. Runners advance 1 base, and it's on the chart. And it is on the chart. Rolls of 6 are auto advance, play at first only on all grounders. I always felt that if a double play rating went as high as 6, okay, there could still be a double play. But he says there's always a chance for a double play. So he says there's always a chance that a double play may not be completed due to a slowly hit grounder or anything like that. So a roll of 6, no matter what the base running rating calculations are, Winfield will take second and Mercer's thrown out. And, of course, all other runners will advance one base. So a roll of 6 is always a runner advancement no matter what. And that includes runners on third coming to home. And we'll get to infield in a moment. That's also a lot of fun. Double plays. So that is how you figure out double plays. Double play rating of the batter minus the pitcher, plus or minus the pitcher, and then add or subtract the pivot rating of the throw. And of course, if the double play is on. Now, you could still have double plays even if the double play rating is not in the if the infield is not double play depth. You can still play the infield back. So if you play and in some cases you may want to, because the batter hits into so many double plays, you don't have to worry about a range play. So let's say the infield was back. So it's 3 minus 1. But since there's no double play rating, it's not double play back, it's just a 2. And then check the pivot rating. So in a way, it'd be a 1 to 2. You can still have a double play when the infield is back, or the infield double play rating, or the infield is in for a double play. You just don't add the extra to the double plays. You also don't subtract -1 from the runner. So in this case, if it's a 1 or a 2, it'd be a double play. But a 3, 4, or 5, Winfield takes second. And if it's a 6, Winfield still takes second. The thing about the positioning, about inside pitch, you can position the infield any way you want individually if you wish. So let's say you have Lopes, you got Russell, you got Johnstone at first base, and at third base, just the heck of we'll say Guerrero, because he can play third. So you can have your infield. Inside pitch is one of the only games that you can position your infielders any way you want in any shape or form. You just got to make sure you know where they're at. So if I want to have Pedro Guerrero in, Bill Russell back, Lopes double play depth, and Johnstone maybe back, you can do that. So you can have in, back, in, back, whatever, you can do it that way. And the chart tells you what the ranges will be and what the modifiers will be depending on where the ball was hit to. You can do that in the infield. He has no rules for outfield in or outfield back or anything like that. Some people have tried certain house rules with that, like an infield is in to try to cut off a runner coming in from the plate or something like that. I guess that's okay. Make up your, like David Baseball Demos says, play the game, play the game you want, play the game you want the way you want to play it. If you want to create some new house rules, that's fine too. You can do that. That's perfectly all right. I wouldn't change. There really is, no one die roll to completely, the only time you really have only one die roll, okay, is, that decides a play is if it's a walk or a strikeout. So if Fernando Valenzuela throws a 3-2, let's say he rolls a 3-1, which is a K, and Bobby Mercer, and against lefties, Mercer is a 9, +2 from the ballpark ratings, an 11, that's a 6. Mercer strikes out right there. That's pretty much the only way, strikeouts or walks, all right, is the only way where only one die roll will decide the at bat. Usually you'll need 2. And that's nothing, and what's wrong with that? So you need 2 dice rolls. Now what if the infield is in? Okay, so the infield is in. When the infield is in, let's put Winfield on at third. And the infield is in, and we'll say, and we got to have a chance for a double play. So let's see what happens. So let's say the infield is in. So the infield is in. The rule on infield is in is this. The only double play you can have when the infield is in is home to first. That's it. You cannot have You cannot have second to first double play or third to second double play when the infield is in. Why? Makes sense because the fielders are away from their base. So they're not here. They're pretty much here. They're inside the lines. So there's really no way of a ball that hits sharp at grounder. They have to get back to the base in order to try to turn double play. That's rare I've actually seen it. Maybe it's been done. Maybe. I don't know. So I can't say for sure. Perhaps. But his rule is no chance of a double play, okay, second to first. The only double play you can have, the only double play you can have, all right, is first to home. That's true, Big Clue. You're right. That's true. We won't get our feelings hurt when they say this about the game. But I got a little bit miffed, especially, I got a little bit miffed. I was a little bit annoyed from the posts, and I'll state that. I was a little annoyed from the post, and I said, okay, fine. Don't bash the game because you're having an issue understanding it, or if you feel the rules are unclear. And perhaps he is right. Perhaps he is right. Perhaps the rules are still unclear. He could be right. So I'm not going to say he was wrong, but I have no issue with the way the rules were written. So let's get back. So infield in. The only way you can have a double play on infield is home to first. So there is no pivot rating. On an infield in double play, the only way we have a double play concerning the batter rating and the pitcher rating for double play. So let's say Dave Winfield let's say Mercer hits a ground ball to short and the infield's in. Pivot ratings don't matter because the ball is not being thrown to here or here. So let's say it's a ground ball to short. The infield is in. When the infield is in, the base runner's rating on third, okay, is reduced by 2. Mercer's double play rating is a 3. The only thing you're really much rolling is on the double play rating minus the pitcher or plus the pitcher. So a 3 minus 1 is a 2. That's it. For infield in double plays, that's it. So if you roll, okay, so you see you get the double play. So if it's a 2 or lower, the throw is made to the plate, Winfield is out, the throw was made from the plate to first to get Mercer, double play. If it was a 3, Winfield, because his base running rating is a 3 and a 3 shows up, Winfield scores. The only play was at first. On a 4 or 5, in this case, Winfield will be thrown out at the plate. Mercer takes first. But if it's still a 6, no matter what, if it's a 6, it is the runners advance one base no matter what, which pretty much tells me that Bobby Mercer hit a slow rolling grounder to shortstop. It was too slow no way that they can make a play on Winfield, and the throw went to first automatically, and Winfield will score. 6, on a 6 when checking the double play roll, runners always advance one base. Period. Nothing around it. Now, what if a double play rating is a 0? At one point, Chris wanted to say you can't go any lower than 1. So there's always a chance of a double play, okay? Just like there's always a chance of runners advancing on any kind of grounder. He got a lot of backlash from us, and I was one of them. I say if there is no chance of a double play, all right, you gotta let the ratings speak for themselves. So let's say, for the heck of argument, Bobby Mercer's double play rating is a 1, and Fernando Valenzuela's -1, so it's a 0. That means there's no double play possible, but you still have to make a roll to see where the out occurred. In this case, then, you check the base running rating of the base runners. We'll put Winfield back on first. Okay. And of course, if it's a double play depth. So let's say, let me choose a different player here. Let me see here. Hold on here. What we got? Yankees. Let's see here. Let's see. Ground ball, double play, down ball, double play. 2. Here we go. Let's take off Bobby Mercer and let's put in Larry Milbourne. Larry Milbourne's double play rating is a 2. So 2 -1 is a 1. He still gets the +2 here. Actually, 2 is not the right thing to use. Let's change that. Hold on. Here we go. Andre Robertson. Andre Robertson didn't do much batting, of course, in 1981. He only had 19 at-bats. He's not a fringe player. I haven't printed out the fringe players yet. I'll be doing that soon for 1981. But Andre Robertson has a double play rating of 0. So he pretty much, according to Chris, he never hit into a double play. Could he still hit into a double play? Yes, he can. It just has to depend. Let's say the pitcher, so as I said, the pitcher has a -1 double play rating. So 0, -1 is a -1, and the infield double play rating is a +1. So that makes that a 0. We got to find out where the play was made. So there is an out. We just got to find out where. You still roll. And the roll is going to be a 2. Since Dave Winfield's base running rating is a 5, -1 of 4 because of double play depth from the first baseman, that is a 2. Winfield would advance to second. The throw was made to first to get Andre Robertson. Let's say it was a 5. If it was a 5, it was a fielder's choice. The throw was made to Winfield because his base running rating is lower than the die roll. So he would be thrown out at second, and Andre Robertson, takes first. Now, of course, double play rating for Andre Robertson is a 0. But is there a way he can still, according to this, there's no way he could hit into a double play. Well, that's not true, because if the infield is still in double play rating, that's an automatic +1. Fernando Valenzuela makes it a -1, so that would be a 0. But let's say we get a different pitcher out there. How about let's see here. Who do we use? Here we go. Let's say the Dodgers bring in Terry Forster. Forster has a +1 double play rating. So 0 +1. +1 here is 2. So he can still ground out into a double play. Just because the stats or the ratings look like it's possible that a player may or may not do something, it can still happen in inside pitch. Same thing with home runs. Andre Robertson has a 0 for home runs on both sides. Can he never hit a home run? What if he went to a park that had a +1 home run rating? Let's say he went to a park that belted a whole bunch of home runs, and the home run rating is a +1. Well, then on a 1, he'll hit a home run. It can happen. Just because the ratings look like something can't happen for a certain player, it doesn't mean it cannot happen. So that's infield in double plays. Now, of course, what about runners at first and second? So let's put Larry Milburn back on the field for at second base for the Yankees. And let's say a ball is hit to third base. This is a little tricky because when a ball is hit to third and there's only runners on first and second, or bases, I don't think he counts bases loaded though. But runners on first and second, you have to check to see where the ball was hit to. So towards the line, right of the third baseman, or in the hole. And this will tell you what kind of double play you can have if you're choosing for double play with runners at first and second. And, of course, if the infield is in and there's no chance, sometimes it might just take the automatic out and of the bases loaded, and the run will score automatically from third. So that's pretty much how you do double plays on ground outs and through the infield or the outfield. Then there's the strategy roll. The strategy roll was created by Chris Davis, so the game could play with a solitaire feel to it. Some people play the strategy roll hard and fast. Some people play it as a suggestion, like I do, and some people don't use it at all. It is totally optional, the strategy roll. Totally optional, which gives you a chance to steal or hit and run or bunt. The strategy roll, I always tell people, if you want to have complete control over how you want to play the game, if you want to go ahead and you want to steal, with a guy at first base, without using a strategy roll, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. The only thing about it is that the strategy roll does allow you to go see if you want to get a. I would use a strategy roll if you're going to get the jump. So in this case, let's say Larry Milbourne's on at third and Winfield's on at first. Winfield is a stolen base rating of 18. That's pretty darn good. And Fernando Valenzuela gets a +2, a 20. All right. And the catcher for the Dodgers, I think in this case was Steve Yeager. I'll use Yeager, I guess, for the catcher. Steve Yeager has a zero arm. So Dave Winfield, pretty much the only way he's throwing out at second is on a 20. But if you're going to attempt to steal and not use a strategy roll, you really should still use it to see if he gets the jump. Otherwise, Winfield will be stealing bases all over the place. His attempt rating is a 2. Fernando Valenzuela, though, gives a +2 to the attempt, so it's a 4. So a 4 or lower, Winfield would have a chance, gets the jump to steal second base. That is a 4, so he gets it. But let's say there's a 20, all right? No. Now, of course, a 20, since Andre Robertson has a bunt rating of 1, you can check to see if there's any bunt ratings, so they'll probably be up. That's a 20, though. A 20, of course, is a pickoff chance. And you check the 20 to see if Fernando Valenzuela will go ahead and get a pickoff at first base. Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Stevens. So there are many ways possible, for the strategy roll to check a hit and run. Now, he improved the hit and run ability of the chart now, depending on the strikeout rate of the batter. And I will add I do add the stadiums plus any adjustments for that to see if a chance for a hit and run will occur. Andre Robertson is a strikeout rating of 12. So Dave Winfield is a +2, +2 is a 4. In order for a hit and run to occur with just using Andre Robertson, it would have to be a 5 or a 6 for a chance for a hit and run. But because Yankee Stadium adds +2, that makes that a 14. And a 14 only adds a +1 for a hit and run chance. So only a 5 you'll get a chance for a hit and run. And then you follow the rules here for a chance for the hit and run rules and for bunting and such. The strategy roll, as I say, totally optional. I love the strategy roll. I really do. But now some people you'll use it hard and fast. So if a bunt occurs, it occurs. Even if the game situation doesn't even warrant a bunt, some people will still roll the bunt. Okay, fine. Remember, to me, the strategy roll is like a bench coach. The bench coach is saying, hey, look, Winfield's got the jump. He can go to second base. Okay, the stolen base rating is 18, +2 is 20. Yeager has a 0 arm. The only way Winfield can be thrown out is on a 20, which the way my D20s work when I try steals always seems to occur, as you guys have figured out in some of the playoff games for 76. I have a feeling 1981 is going to be a blast also. Strategy roll, completely optional if you want to use it. I just use it as a bench coach telling me, okay, this is available. A bunt is available. Pitchers, I'll usually roll a strategy roll for a bunt for a pitcher, but usually for pitchers in the National League, I will call for an automatic bunt, and I'll usually override the strategy roll. Because, like I said, it's a suggestion. It's not, you can play it hard and fast if you like. So if you're down by 5 runs and you're going to bunt and you want to play a bunt, fine. I don't know why you do that, but fine. That's just fine. What else can I go through here? Flyouts. Let's use Dave Winfield here at second base. Andre Robertson at bat. Andre Robertson, it's a fly out to left. Dave Winfield is a base running rating of 5. Used to be he changed the fly out rules a little bit here. So now he has modifications to see if a runner on second will go to third. There are no rules anywhere from a runner on first to go to second. I think there is a rare play that does allow that, but it's very rare that a runner at first goes to second on a fly ball. I rarely see that occurring. Usually the runner would be, unless he's got a roller rating of 6, I doubt it. Some people do have house rules for something like that. That's fine too. So on a fly out, let's say it's a fly out to left. Dave Winfield's a base running rating of 5. It's a -3 on a fly out to left. On a runner on second, less than 2 out, you roll 3d6. Okay. Well, the first thing I do is I'll roll 2 dice. If a roll is a 6-6, there's a possible out. The blue die, I say, will be read first. So 1 or 2 of the blue die, Winfield takes third. The ball was deep enough for Winfield to go to third base. That is a 6, but that is a 1, so he's going to automatically hold. All right? Let's say it was a 2. If it was a 2 or 1, Winfield automatically would take third base. A 3 to 5, he would hold at second base. And you have -2 on flyouts to center and -1 on flyouts to right. Now, if it's a 6-6, if you actually roll double sixes when attempting to take the base, there is a very good chance you could be out. Then you roll 1 more die, but you check the outfielder arm rating. So let's say the ball was hit to left field, and let's see here. So fly ball to left field, so it went to, let's see, where are you? So fly ball to left field for Jay Johnstone in left field. His arm rating is a +1. If it rolls a 6-6, that's when you check to see if he is thrown out. If he's thrown out, he's out at third. +1 for Jay Johnstone is a 1 to 2. And it says right here, fly to second to third, runner out. So if it's a 1 to 2, on the third die roll, Winfield would be out. It is a 6, so he still holds at second. He decided not to go. Johnstone got the throw in pretty quickly, and that's it. I don't see the problem here with flyouts. I really don't. That rule, and it used to be where on a flyout to left, there was no chance of a runner from second going to third. Flyout to center, I think it had to deal with the original base running rating. And a fly out to right, it was a base running. There were no modifications at all here. He didn't have modifications in version 2. He does have here in version 3. And, of course, you have the pivot charts and such. Then there's errors. Errors can be very tricky. It would take me maybe another video, all right, to decide on how to work on errors. But errors pretty much are spelled out for you here and in the game. All right. Are there any questions? And one question at a time, I'll answer. Got time here. It's only 1:37. I don't care. I'll stay here as long as we need to for everyone here to try to get any understanding. Does anybody here that here have any questions or want to see an example of something done? And I'll wait at least a minute or two for you guys to type. So, does anybody here have any questions? All right, on how to calculations. There are some guys that tell me, well, we don't want a game with calculations. But every game has got them. So what's the problem? Stratomatic's got them. Replay baseball has a whole bunch of dice rolls, depending on what happens with replay. I've seen that too. Replay has a whole bunch of dice rolls, and it uses charts. And I like the replay baseball engine, as a matter of fact. APA Baseball uses charts. And if you're playing the Master Edition of APA, well, you're doing a whole bunch of calculations for the Master Edition. And in my opinion, Master Game of APA, me personally, that's the only way to play it. Does the game provide rules for repositioning the infield or outfield, like holding a runner or guarding against the bunt? Yes, in a way. Remember, right on the chart, all back double play in. And this tells you exactly what happens on certain plays if the infielder is at a certain position. Can you guard against the bunt? Yes. If you have a bunt, let's say I have another, there's no official corners in, but I created a corners in specifically to guard against bunts when the pitcher is up. So I'll go corners in. When the corners are in, you have the first baseman and the third baseman, okay, inside, okay? And then if a ball, let's say Andre Roberts, we need a guy with a better bunt rating. Let's use Larry Milbourne. Larry Milbourne has a bunt rating of 5. And we go to the bunt chart. The bunt chart states infielder playing in, bunt rating -1. So let's say Larry Milburn on a bunt rating and on a bunt, okay, Larry Milburn, let's see, he bunts at 3. Well, a 1-3 is hit to the first baseman. This fielder is playing in. This fielder is playing in, so first base is going to be in. So his bunt rating becomes a 5, becomes a 4. That is a 14. And on the chart for a 14, it's still a good bunt, successful sacrifice bunt. Okay, resolved by bunt rate. You know, if you're bunting for a hit, roll D20. I did not bunt for a hit ever on any of these, on any game I played. I have not done a bunt for a hit. I just felt bunting for a hit didn't occur much in the 70s and 80s, I felt. It does occur a lot these days now. A lot of, because you got so much speed on the bases now, bunt for a hits do occur, are now common these days. So you would go ahead, all right, and just read off the chart here. Now, let's say his bunt rating was a 4. If the ball was hit to a runner who's in, his bunt rating then becomes a 3. Instead, that 14 becomes a lead runner. The lead runner is thrown out, and the batter is safe at first. The charts here for helping you out on bunts, for good bunt, squeeze, foul, lead runner, all here for you to read. And, of course, the error checks and such. And where the range is on bunt depth, the double play chances. And, of course, on a double play on a bunt, very difficult to do for double plays. And it shows you the base running rating, the hitter running rating, and the hitter bunt, depending on where it's hit to. And, of course, the catcher and the pitcher automatically have -1. So the pitcher and catcher are automatically -1 to the hitter's bunt rating of here. Okay, the pitcher and catcher, because they're automatically considered in. So that that takes care of that. So yes, for holding the runner and guarding against the bunt. No, I'm still doing Arkham Horror ID, Jester. It's not over. It's not over. I wanted to take a whole week off from streaming to rest my voice after that last game. So yes, Arkham Horror will be coming back. I'm not killing it. I love the game. Plus, I've also gotten a couple of other games that are coming in as well. Explain the failed error check that becomes an infield hit number 4. Let's see. Oh, okay. You're talking about this right here, right? All right, let's see what we got here. That is an infield single, base runner, no error check as error can be made. Okay. This here, okay. These are no errors. These are possible infield singles. These are possible infield singles. Okay, and it says here, no error checked as no error can be made. If an error on the pitcher card, if an EG question mark or an E question mark comes up and the result is S1 or S6, S4, S5, it is not an error check. It is a possible infield single. So the ball was hit slowly to the player, and it's up to the batter to try to get the first base. You take the batter's base running rating. It is a straight base running rating check. No adjustments. No adjustments from the arms or anything like that from the shortstop, second base. No adjustments for the arms. The reason why is because there is no arm rating for third baseman or first baseman. There are no arm ratings. So it's a straight BR rating. So on a 1-4, which is a 1, Larry Milburn would be at first base on an infield single. If it's a 5 or higher, Larry Milburn is thrown out. Any runners that are on base automatically advance no matter what. It's an automatic one base advance. So if Dave Winfield is on second and it's a slow rolling grounder, there's no way to get Winfield. They're going to try to get the out at first. So safe or out for Milburn, Winfield is on third base no matter what. And if Winfield is on second, and since it's not a double play check, because it's not a double play chance, unless it's a range play that turns an S6 into a G6, okay, G6, all right, then Winfield, no matter what Milburn is, safe or out, Winfield will take second on the throw, no matter how that works. Now we're gonna have some Arkham Horror probably tomorrow night. I wanted to take a full week off from streaming because I just needed to rest. As you can hear, my voice is pretty much coming back, and of course, the 1981 season is not starting until October 4th because there's other stuff I wanted to stream as well. So that should help you. Anytime an EG question mark or an E question mark, and it's an S1 to S6, it is not an error. It is a possible infield single. Now, if it's an ET question mark, it is an automatic infield single with a possible throwing error from S1 to S6. So if it's an ET question mark and it's an S4, that's an infield single no matter what. The question is, you check the error rating of the fielder to see if he tried to still make a play at first to get the runner out. But if he makes an error, it's an automatic one base advance. It's not like checking on an error on a throw on a grounder where you then have to check the range of the field of the baseman, okay, to see if the ball gets past it. Let's see what's up next here. For those that don't ask play, does Inside Pitch offer any sort of rest charts or injury duration charts or tables? There you go. There's your injury chart. As far as rest charts, if you're playing as played lineups, the rest chart doesn't matter. It's of no account because if you're playing an as played lineup, okay, it doesn't matter. The player's not going to be in the as played lineup. And of course, I use Action PC Baseball to help me get the rosters for every single game that I stream by making sure I have the correct players on that team that are either from trades or from call-ups or from draft, that kind of thing. Oh, we missed you too, Big Clue. So yes, so it does have injury rate charts. As far as rest charts go, there are no rest charts per se. But in my opinion, I think it's pretty simple. If you have a starter should get 4 days rest. If you have a starter, you have 4 days rest. Relief pitcher could probably pitch 2 days in a row. Then you should give him a day off or something like that. There are no fatigue rest, okay, that the game provides. However, I did create a house rule on the fly if the World Series went to a Game 7, utilizing the 2 starting pitchers that only pitched on 2 days rest. I did have a house rule that I was going to use for that Game 7, but since we didn't get there, it wasn't necessary. So there is no rest chart, but there is an injury chart. But then again, if you're playing as played lineups, this is useless to you. But I use the injury chart in the playoffs. So you guys know that if there's a playoff, I do have injuries in the playoffs. So if an injury occurs in the playoffs, I will use this chart. And remember, there were going to be, seeing how tomorrow is my 26-year Cal Ripken streak. And I rest Ripken. Absolutely no. Put him out there. Let him continue. Let him continue the streak there, Brandon. Let him continue the streak. Let him continue the streak. Let him continue the streak. Why not? It can't hurt. It's your game. Play it the way you want. So this is your injury rating chart, and it can go as high as 60-day, and that's usually enough. But if you're playing as played lineups, this is kind of like it's redundant. But if you're playing like a draft league, now of course, if you're in a draft league, your own inside pitch league or something, then yes, you're using this obviously for draft leagues and stuff and for playoffs. But other than that, I will only be using this injury chart. Okay, I'll only be using the injury chart in the playoffs. I will not be using these during regular season. Let's see what's next. Does the game come with combined cards? A full season 1977 card for Tom Seaver, or is it just the players' individual cards with respective teams? It does not come with it. Are you asking? Are you asking me if it comes like, let's say if a player is traded, does it come with 2 cards for one player concerning one for, who's on 2 different teams? Is that what you're asking me? Or is it just the player's individual cards with respect to teams? So is that what you're asking me? If that's what you're asking me, okay, the answer, it only comes with 1 card. So, and to give an example, I actually do have one for you. I do have one. I do have one for you. Dave LaRoche is listed on the New York Yankees. Dave LaRoche starts in 1981 with the Chicago Cubs. He is not on the Yankees yet until later in the season. So he has Dave LaRoche, okay, as in 1981 for the Yankees. So if you're playing as played lineups, and of course, when I start the 81 season, I will have Dave LaRoche in the Cubs pack until he's moved to the Yankees. Dave LaRoche was a Cub and moved to be with the Yankees later. Okay, that's fine. That's why if I'm ever playing a game and you always hear me when I'm doing a game and you see that one of the cards is in a different uniform, I always state why that player is in a different uniform. So if we play a Cubs game early and Dave LaRoche is the relief pitcher, I will say Dave LaRoche, okay, will be traded to the New York Yankees later in the season. So you always know why he's in a Yankee uniform in the Cubs. Now, and yes, even if they're in the extra players, it's just 1 card per player, as D. Smith is 100% correct. There are a couple of games that actually go ahead and create a number of cards for a single player. One of them is Payoff Pitch. Joe Bryan, who's a genius, okay, in Payoff Pitch, he creates a card for every team that player is on for that season. Makes it so much easy. Makes it very easy to figure out what team he's on, all right, and plus he usually has the dates underneath the player's name, so you know when he's available. It's beautiful, okay? He does that. Fall Classic Baseball does that. Okay? They do that. Stratomatic doesn't even give you every player. But Payoff Pitch and Fall Classic, 2 awesome systems. Yes, they go ahead, all right, and they will actually give you an extra copy of a player, but only for that team. So that's only combined stats. To some people, that could be a bit of a deal breaker. Me, I don't care. I got the player. That's fine. What he did, maybe he wasn't as great on one team than he was on another, but fine. It doesn't bother me. It's not a deal breaker. So yes. So 1 card. So if one player found himself on 5 different teams throughout a season, there'll only be 1 card, and he usually puts it with either the team he was last on, or it was last on at the end of the year, or the team that maybe he had the most at bats or most innings pitched. So yes, there's only 1 card per player. Any other questions out there? Anybody else got any questions they'd like to ask? I still got time. I'm off tomorrow. It's Labor Day. I don't work tomorrow. I am missing Notre Dame and Florida State right now. If somebody can tell me what the score is, that'd be great. I'll catch the end of that game in a bit. Greg Sovin is the Fall Classic guy. Yes, he is. Fall Classic, me personally, I just couldn't get into it, but his game system is excellent, and he has over 100 seasons. Dang, I wish Inside Pitch had that many. And one day, maybe he will, okay? I mean, I keep on telling Chris, you know what would happen if you created a 1919 or a 1927 season? Florida State 14, Notre Dame 10. Thank you there, D. Smith. And I had a feeling Florida State was going to give Notre Dame a headache, even though Notre Dame was highly favored. But, It has over 100 seasons. I tell Chris, do something. I understand you may not be able to get your pitch-by-pitch information, okay, for the seasons, but find a substitute so you can do 1919 and 1927 or some of the dead ball eras. They would fly off the shelves because everybody likes playing Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Ed Delahanty, Christy Mathewson. Come on. I know he wants to finish fill in the holes in the seasons he has right now, and from 1956 to 2020. I know he wants to get those holes filled as soon as possible before he goes and maybe thinks going back to the earlier 50s or the 40s or 30s and maybe even the dead ball era. I told Chris, do you know how well your game will sell if you also include dead ball? I would love to do a 1919 World Series inside pitch style. I would love to play a 1927 replay. That would be a blast with the Yankees. So, but that's up to him if he wants to do it that way. Right now, inside pitch is still considered one of the top baseball cards and dice games you can get. What is your favorite feature of inside pitch that's unique to inside pitch? My favorite feature of inside pitch, believe it or not, is the base running mechanics. And that is unique to inside pitch. There is no baseball game that I know of where you actually have to roll dice on every base hit to the outfield that decides if a runner advances or not. Most games use charts or cards. Inside pitch is the only one where if a ball is hit to left, center, or right field, I have to roll to see if the batter or if the base runners advance an extra base or not. I don't know of any other game that does that. Fall Classic actually uses charts too, but Greg also uses an arm mechanic in the outfield, strong average and weak to help that out too. So maybe Fall Classic also does it that way too. But it uses and you do on dugout, yeah too. You do on dugout steps, as I've heard. So that's actually a favorite feature of mine is because it's different. And there a lot, the base running may be hard to learn, but it is genius because you have absolutely no idea if there's going to be a score or not. I mean, to go ahead and roll on a card and it says three star double. Okay, so he scores from first. Great. It's a double and he scores. But what if the base runner on first was mud? Automatically scores. Okay, yeah, I can see that happening, but let's really see if he does that. So Dave Winfield with a base running rating of 5 has a great chance on scoring on first on a double, where Bobby Mercer with a base running rating of 1, who's mud, all right, ain't going to probably make it to home plate. He'll probably hold the third. That's one of the features I love about inside pitch is the base running mechanic. Now that I know how to do it, it makes sense to me. But there are some that just don't want to roll extra dice or do any calculations. So what? You add and subtract? You're not multiplying and dividing. You're just adding and subtracting a couple of things. That's all there is to it. What's your 2-minute elevator pitch for the game? Elevator pitch. 2-minute elevator pitch for the game. In other words, are you asking me for my sales pitch, Big Clue? What would be my 2-minute sales pitch to tell people to try the game out? Is that what you're asking me there, Big Clue? What would be my sales pitch would be for the game? 2-minute pitch. Well, take a look at the let's see. Take a look at the aesthetics of the game. Take a look at the cards. What do you see just by looking at the cards? What do you see on the cards that not many other games use? There are not many other games that use what you already, just look at the cards. What do you see already on the cards? That's a big selling point right there. If you guys can guess, just look at the cards. What do you see? What's the first thing that catches your eye on the cards? Bingo. D. Smith's got it right. Colors. First of all, each card is in color of the team that they play for. Not team colors. Not every game has that. APA, absolutely not. They're just red. It's red writing on their cards. Stratomatic does have colored cards, but not the team colors. Joe Bryan just started putting colors on his cards, but really not on the whole card, just in the section where he can make the card a little bit colorful, which I applaud him for. Fall Classic doesn't do it that way. Inside Pitch, every card is different because of color. That's amazing. Color, not black and white color. Number 2, big. It's a big card, and it's very easy to read. It's a big card, and it's very easy. I have no problem reading these cards. They're very easy to read. It's all laid out for you. They're very easy to read. They're very easy to read. So I have no problem reading the cards. No problem reading on the ballpark. No problem reading anything. I have no problem reading the cards. They're very easy. The font is good. It chose a good font, and even the Fringe Player font is good. The Fringe Player font's a little different. Okay? Even the Fringe Player font is good. Oh, there's my third check. You get every player. I'm going to say 99% of the time you will get every player. There are some players Chris does not card if they do not have at least like 2 or 3 at-bats or no at-bats at all. For example, Larry Lintz of Oakland in 1976. He did not card that. He did not card Larry Lintz when he first did the 76 season. I was able to get a copy of a 76 Larry Lintz card that somebody sent me, and I went ahead and put it into the Oakland Athletics playoff roster late. But there are some cards he does not card only because they didn't have any at bats or any innings pitched in the season. But you get pretty much everybody that played. So if you want to do a season replay, go right ahead. You will have every player to do it with. You will have every player to do it with. And pretty much if the player didn't have any at-bats, you're probably not going to put him at the plate. Now, you may put him in the outfield or something like that, okay? But usually, okay, you get pretty much every player in the game. So you get every player. Hey, Stratomatic. Yeah, you hear me, Strat? Every player, Strat. You know that? Yeah, every player. Ever hear of something like that? Probably not. Oh, you do? You just don't want to do it. Okay, fine. One of the reasons why I don't go Strat is because they don't have any. That's because they don't have any. They don't have every player. Baseball Demos joins us here. Yeah, you are very late, sir. You are so late, and you are even late for dinner there, Dave. But that's okay. This really isn't for you because you know how to play the game. This really isn't for you. This is more. This Q&A is designed for people that need to learn a little bit more how the base running systems work, how the runner advancement, certain nuances from version 3, from version 2. That's what this is for. My videos are designed for people that already know how inside pitch works. They're not designed as cheap teaching video, and I had people begging me to do a video like this, so I did one. Another point about inside pitch. Customer service. Who here can say who has better customer service than Chris Davis at inside pitch? Oh yeah, you get every player because it's a free downloadable PDF. Now, customer service, guys. Customer service. Chris Davis cares about his customers. Customer service. Can I prove it? Yes, I can. Give me a moment. Can I prove customer service? Yes, I can. even if it's a ratings issue sometimes now. Let's clear the board here real quick. And I'm going to give you an example of customer service from Chris Davis. That's Rick Reed from the 2000 New York Mets season. This is the old card. Actually, I'm sorry, that's the new card. My bad. That's the new card. I should have, because he sent me another one. So I should have another one here someplace. Hold on. Two Rick Reed cards. Check that out. Customer service. This card here is the original Rick Reed card from the 2000 season with a pickoff chance, a pickoff error chance, and a balk. Rick Reed did not have any pickoffs at all in 2000. So it was brought to his attention that Rick Reed shouldn't have had a pickoff chance at all. So obviously, we got a pickoff and a 5 and 7 pickoff rating error. Okay? But Rick Reed had no pickoff chances. Take a look at this. This is another copy of a card I've already received. This is the new Rick Reed card. This is the corrected Rick Reed card. Pickoff error chance and a balk, because he did have a balk, but he had no pickoffs. He does have a pickoff chance here. The card is the same. There's no change in anything except here. He went through his data and found out that this card was made an error, and he fixed it, and he sent me an extra card. Hey, Appa. Yeah, Appa. Yeah, I got a mistake on a card. Could you send me a can you send me a new card with corrected information on it? Oh yeah, that's right. You don't do that. Chris Davis does that. These are all mistakes. Brian Hunter from Colorado from the 2000 season. There's an error. Busch Stadium with a mistake on the card. Check that one out. Jeff Wallace, 2000 Pittsburgh. What's the matter with the card? Take a look at the Jeff Wallace card. What's the matter with it? He's listed in Pittsburgh, but it's in Philadelphia colors. Don't ask me why. Pro Player Satdium. Oakland Coliseum in 2000. Well, it wasn't known as Oakland Coliseum in 2000. It was Network Associates Coliseum. Dwayne Below, 2011 Detroit. Not available. Even Tropicana Field. Notice the color, the discoloring here? That's a darker blue than that one. And, of course, everybody's favorite, Oakland Alameda Coliseum. Missing an S. He has fixed every one of these cards. Every card I've just showed you, he fixed them all. And sent me, if they were printed cards, if they came from preparation and they're printed, he fixes them and he sends me a corrected card set. Anytime I see somebody in the forums say that there's a mistake on a card, I check my sets because I have every single set that he's made. I have every single set. And he's fixed them. And he's fixed them. So, and of course, D. Smith says you get the downloadable fringe players for free. You just download them. And yes, I download them on a 110-pound card stock. Okay. I download them on I have 110-pound. I do have 110-pound card stock, and I use this to cut them. And they're usually and I also have a subscription from Adobe, which allows me to edit his PDF files so I can go ahead and increase the size of the card so that they are pretty close to the actual size of the perforated cards. They do print slightly small in the regular cards. That is correct. You got to crop them. You got to go ahead and crop them. Take the cards and crop them. Take out the margins. Take out the margins. Crop them to about 104%. Then print. They will come out very close to the correct size. If you guys noticed in my games, you noticed my French player cards were pretty much the same size as the actual perforated cards. You just got to go ahead and crop them, get them to about 104%, then print, and they will be the correct size you need. Then cut, and you should be just fine. I don't mind the lines on them. That doesn't bother me. The lines doesn't bother me. They are French players, so they're not going to see much play, but they're still there. So you have all the cards that you need. Now, of course, as I said, his ratings are not always perfect. We know. I mean, he gave Don Mattingly in 1985 a 2 when it probably should have been a 4 or 5. Not every card is rated perfectly. We understand that. Change it then. If you have a major problem, change it. You bought the card, change it. Really. Just change it. Like baseball, like David Baseball Demos, he prefers the splits to be a little better. He prefers the splits to be a little bit more realistic to the hitting and that kind of stuff. And he's not wrong in what he does. So he use a little whiteout and changes it to like a 0 or something, and that is just fine. If you have the paid version of W, you can edit the field and delete the lines. Yes, which I do have. And I do delete, and I sometimes delete. I actually leave the lines because it does give me a point of reference when I cut. It doesn't bother me. The lines don't bother me. It's minimal. Like I said, the French players don't get much play anyway because they're rarely used. But they are there if you need them. Customer service. Chris has the best customer service. You place an order, he'll usually put the order through the next business day. If there's a mistake on a card in terms of spelling, coloring, or anything like that, take a picture of the card and email it to him. He will fix it. He'll send you out a new printed card. If it's a printed card, he will fix it. If it's a PDF, he'll do a new PDF and send it to you. Okay. His customer service is top notch. No one beats his customer service. Definitely not APA. And Stratomatic's customer service, well, they can't even spell the 2 words. So there is no customer service with Stratomatic. Joe Bryan's got very good customer service for Payoff Pitch. If there's an error, he usually will fix it. He takes some time to do it, but he gets it done. So I have no problem with Joe Bryan at Payoff Pitch's customer service. Fall Classic, also very good customer service. But Inside Pitch, I don't think anything could beat. I really don't think anything could beat Chris Davis and his customer service. And he takes suggestions. Remember that chart. These version 3 charts are not all of his work. They are the results of him. They're the results of John Brewer, who annotated the rule book. And of course, some of the results are mine. And one of the results one of it was the drop pop-up odd. It used to be only a fly ball a drop fly ball can only occur, okay, on an odd number. I told him you need to add odd for drop pop-up. He did. Some of this work was me. I went ahead and I took his chart. Downloaded it to Adobe, used the editor, and made it a little bit easier and cleared out some of the mistakes that I saw, some of the pronunciation and that kind of thing. He finished the rest. I helped him. So did John Brewer. So did many other people that he asked for. What game developer literally calls out to his community and say, "Hey, look, I want to update the game. Suggestions, please"? I don't see APA doing that. I don't see SOM doing that. He listens to his customers, and he wanted to create a final version. Now, is this going to truly be his final version? I don't know. Unfortunately, there are mistakes in the rule book that don't match the charts, because when he did the charts, the rule book was already sent to the printer. So there are a few mistakes in the rule book, unfortunately, but minimal. He says follow whatever the chart said is what you go by. So, are there any other questions that you have on Inside Pitch? Any other examples that you want to see or something like that? And of course, I use the 1981 cards because that's going to be the next season we're going to do, starting October 4th. So yes, we will be doing the 1981 season. We will be doing the 1981 season starting October 4th. And the opening day game, by the way, is a heck of a game. The Philadelphia Phillies will get their rings in Cincinnati when they take on the Cincinnati Reds. And it's a good game too. Steve Carlton against Tom Seaver. I'm almost mad that I chose October 4th to start that. That game's going to be awesome to play. So, So 1981 is going to be the next. Remember, I know not every team plays the same amount of games. It is what it is. And, of course, I'm not doing split season. So whatever they are, the top 3 teams each division will make the playoffs. Just like I did for 1976 and now for 1981. So if are there any more questions? And, of course, if any questions rise up in the comments of this video, that's fine. I just ask for people that if people have problems with the game, don't bash it. Don't bash it. We all do. We all bash what we don't like. And even I'm guilty of it. I know. I constantly bash other games where I feel that the game should play, I just didn't do it for me. When I say it didn't do it for me, I didn't say there was anything wrong with the game. I just wasn't excited playing it. Inside Pitch is exciting. Check out Game 5 of the World Series between the Athletics and the Phillies and see how that game went. Check out A Natural Cycle by Mike Schmidt in the early part of the 76 regular season. Check out the 1985 National League Division Series game between the Cardinals and the Expos, which was the craziest game that I ever played. The game is exciting. You really have no idea how the game is going to go. You really don't. The charts you use help you resolve the play. They don't decide the play, except for the bunt charts. But even that, even the bunt charts. But then again, most companies use bunt charts. That's fine. Don't bash the game. If you don't like it, don't play it, and that's fine. And if you do like it, you got questions, ask them in the forums. Go to the Inside Pitch forums and put your question there. They'll be more than happy to help you out. And yes, even Chris will chime in if you have a rules question. And every game is great in its own way. Stratomatic is great because of its rating system. I still think Stratomatic, even though they don't have all the players and all this stuff, Stratomatic may have the best rating system because they're usually true to form. APA has every single season available, and it is incredibly easy to play. In my opinion, though, if you really want to play APA, you need to play the master version of APA. Basic was just not there. Basic was just not enough for me. And the master game, that's calculations, of course, but the master game I felt was a lot deeper, and I feel if anybody wants to play APA, they really should play master. But if you just want a quick game of baseball that you can play in less than half an hour, then nothing beats APA if you play APA Basic. APA Basic is the best when it comes to playing baseball in less than half an hour. There is no other game I know that can do that. As quick as APA can be, straight basic APA, nothing beats APA when it comes to playing a very quick game of baseball. APA Brian, I know, will agree with me on that. Payoff Pitch, great pitcher-batter computation. The use of the fast action cards to get the base runners taken care of. Very well done by Joe Bryan. And he has every player, and he cards every player for every team. So if one player was on 2 or 3 teams, there will be a card for that player on each team. Not many do that. Fall Classic, over 100 seasons, rolls like APA, plays like Stratomatic. It has a little bit of Payoff Pitch into it as well with the A, B, and C, D grade, with the A, B, and D grade, A, B, C grades. So it rolls like APA, but it has splits like Stratomatic, and it has a Payoff Pitch, influence in it as well. Well done. Deep Drive, also very simple game system that I've seen. And I know Tony at Cards and Dice swears by Deep Drive. I know he swears by that game, and he has the right, and he has every right to do so. You know? And of course, Time Travel Baseball, a different take on the game. And of course, let's not forget History Maker Baseball. Here I am, I'm not even representing History Maker Baseball. History Maker Baseball, an awesome game system, absolutely. I don't have it, but I like watching it played. It is a lot of fun to watch playing. And History Maker Baseball plays from an opening day perspective instead of a closing day perspective. You really have no idea how a season will go if you play History Maker Baseball. And Keith Avalon at Play, also awesome customer service. But to me, when it comes to excitement, it just doesn't beat Inside Pitch, where I actually have to roll the dice to really find out what happens. If there are no more questions, I will go ahead and close this video. So, Woodman 564, Big Clue, D. Smith, Baseball Demos, Brandon Baker, Pete Stevens, Coast Kid 1958, Favre, My Basement Media Productions, Craig Scarborough, Larry Harris, Mr. Moley 55, and of course, Steeler Fan 1933. Thank you for joining me tonight. Please leave a like on your way out through the turnstiles. Subscribe if you've not done so. And make sure you hit the bell. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart, stay strong. And of course, ID Jester. I'm sorry, I missed him. ID Jester, of course, joined us. And I will be doing some other stuff coming up. This week, I will be doing some Arkham Horror, definitely. And maybe some other stuff that have arrived to try it out and see if I like it. So, and of course, for those of you who want to know, the 1981 season of Inside Pitch will begin October 4th of this year. And it will be the opening day game on April 8th, 1981. The Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Steve Carlton against Tom Seaver in a Reds uniform. Take care, everyone. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you again soon.